The next 3 weeks unleash a volatile storm of power plays, emotional fractures, and a terrifying crime that will reshape multiple families. Week 1 ignites with corporate and romantic explosions. Billy officially accepts Kane's offer to take control of Chancellor, instantly triggering backlash from every direction. Victoria views the move as an unforgivable betrayal, while Sally confronts Kane directly, refusing to stay silent as Billy drifts deeper into revenge. At the same time, Victor walks in on Jack and Nikki sharing a warm embrace. The moment detonates years of unresolved rivalry, jealousy, and mistrust, pushing the Newman and Abbott feud back into dangerous territory. Behind the scenes, the Matt Clark crisis reaches its breaking point. After Sienna alerts Victor to Nick's plan to kill Matt, Victor takes complete control of Matt's fate. The show keeps the outcome deliberately vague, signaling a secretive and possibly permanent solution. Nick's personal crisis begins to surface. Sharon becomes increasingly alarmed by how many painkillers Nick is consuming while recovering from his leg injury. What begins as pain management quietly slides toward a dangerous addiction that threatens his judgment and relationships. Week 2 shifts into full-scale crisis mode. Mariah's mental spiral reaches a devastating peak when she abducts baby Dominic. Abby and Devin are thrown into absolute panic as they race against time to find their missing son. Detective Burrows steps in to lead the investigation, but early leads remain scarce, keeping the family trapped in fear and uncertainty. The corporate battlefield also reshapes alliances. Recognizing Kane as a growing threat, longtime rivals Jack and Victor are forced to consider a temporary partnership, a move that could redefine the power structure of Genoa City. Meanwhile, Sally faces a personal breaking point. As Billy sinks deeper into obsession and vengeance, Sally must decide whether their relationship can survive the storm or if walking away is the only way to protect herself. Week 3 pivots towards secrets and shifting loyalties. Away from the boardroom wars, Victoria and Nate continue gravitating back toward one another, quietly setting the stage for a possible romantic reunion. Claire remains fixated on uncovering the mystery Audra and Holden are hiding from their past in Los Angeles. While Audra pretends to honor her truths with Holden, Claire prepares a deceptive counterstrike, possibly recruiting Kyle Abbott to help her expose the truth. Across all 3 weeks, power, obsession, and hidden agendas collide, setting the stage for explosive consequences. The Young and the Restless spoilers, January 19th to February 6th, 3 weeks of chaos. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're about to cover 3 absolutely explosive weeks on The Young and the Restless from January 19th all the way through February 6th. And let me tell you, these 3 weeks are packed with corporate warfare, devastating addictions, a kidnapping that's going to tear families apart, and romantic entanglements that are going to change everything. Honestly, by the time we get to February 6th, Genoa City is going to be completely transformed. So, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because these 3 weeks are going to be absolutely unmissable. Alright, let's break this down week by week. Week of January 19th to 23rd, corporate and romantic blow-ups. Let's start with the first week because this is when several major storylines reach their breaking points. The biggest business development is that Billy officially accepts Kane's offer for Chancellor. This isn't Billy just considering it anymore or being tempted. He's made his decision, and he's going through with it despite every warning he's received. And the reaction is immediate and fierce. Victoria and Sally both strike back. Victoria's fury is understandable. Billy's essentially betraying her mother and aligning himself with the people who are trying to destroy the Newman family. This is a personal affront that Victoria is not going to forget or forgive easily. Sally's anger is different, but equally justified. She's been telling Billy not to do this. She's been warning him about the consequences, and Billy just ignored her completely and did it anyway. So Sally takes matters into her own hands. She directly confronts Kane. Think about how brave that is. Sally's going straight to the source, walking into the lion's den and telling Kane exactly what she thinks of his manipulation of Billy. She's not hiding behind Billy or trying to work through intermediaries. She's facing Kane head-on. That confrontation is going to be intense because Kane's not someone who backs down easily, and Sally's not someone who pulls punches when she's angry. Both of them are going to say things that can't be taken back. And while this corporate drama is exploding, there's a personal situation brewing at the Newman ranch. Victor catches Jack and Nikki in a warm embrace. We've talked about this before, but it bears repeating. This is Victor's worst nightmare. Seeing Jack Abbott, his eternal rival, in any kind of intimate moment with Nikki is going to trigger all of Victor's jealousy and possessiveness. The spoilers say this leads to an immediate explosion of tension, which probably means Victor doesn't even try to be diplomatic or understanding. He just goes from zero to fury in seconds. Jack was probably just comforting Mickey about the AI attacks or the stress she's under. But Victor's not going to see it that way. Victor's going to see Jack making a move on his wife, and he's going to respond with all the rage he's been building up from dealing with the corporate crisis. This confrontation is going to damage any possibility of Victor and Jack working together against Kane and Phyllis, which is exactly the opposite of what they need right now. Now, let's talk about Matt Clark because his fate is finally being decided this week. After Sienna warns Victor about Nick's plan to kill Matt, Victor takes full control of what the spoilers call Matt's sentencing. That word sentencing tells us everything about how Victor sees his role. He's not just dealing with the problem. He's acting as judge, jury, and potentially executioner. Victor's going to determine what happens to Matt. And whatever that is, it's going to be final and probably terrifying. We've speculated about whether Victor kills Matt or imprisons him, but either way, Victor's taking this burden from Nick so Nick doesn't have to become a murderer. That's Victor being a father in the only way he knows how, by getting his hands dirty, so his children don't have to. And finally, this week, we're seeing the beginning of Nick's addiction storyline. Sharon becomes alarmed by the sheer volume of pills Nick is taking to manage his leg injury. Sharon knows the signs. She knows that the amount of medication Nick's consuming goes beyond normal pain management. She can see him developing a dependency, and it terrifies her. But Nick's not ready to hear Sharon's concerns. He's not ready to admit he might have a problem. So Sharon's going to have to figure out how to help someone who doesn't think they need help. That's an impossible position to be in. And it's only going to get worse from here. Week of January 26th to 30th. The search for Dominic. Now, we move into the second week, and this is when things get truly heartbreaking because Mariah's mental health crisis reaches a point where she does something unthinkable. Mariah, spiraling out of control, abducts baby Dominic.
Let me repeat that.
Mariah kidnaps Abby and Devin's son. This is every parent's worst nightmare. Your baby is missing. You don't know where he is, whether he's safe, whether you're ever going to see him again. Abby and Devin are going to be absolutely frantic. The panic, the fear, the desperate need to find their child. It's going to consume every moment of their lives until Dominic is found. They turn to Detective Burrow to lead the search, which means this is being treated as a serious crime, as a potential stranger abduction, as the kind of case that requires immediate and intensive law enforcement response. But here's the tragedy. Mariah's not a stranger. She's someone they know and care about. She carried Dominic as a surrogate. She's been part of his life since before he was born. So, when they eventually discover that Mariah's the one who took him, the emotional complexity is going to be overwhelming. Because how do you process that someone you trusted, someone you considered family, kidnapped your child? Even understanding that Mariah did this during a mental health crisis doesn't erase the trauma. It doesn't undo the hours or days of terror. It doesn't make the betrayal hurt any less. This storyline is going to force everyone to grapple with difficult questions about mental illness, about forgiveness, about how you move forward when someone you love does something unforgivable while not in their right mind. Meanwhile, in the corporate world, something unexpected is happening. Jack and Victor, recognizing that Kane is a formidable threat to both of their interests, are forced to consider a temporary partnership. Think about how massive this is. Jack and Victor have been enemies for decades. They've spent years trying to destroy each other's businesses and undermine each other at every turn, but Kane and Phyllis are threatening both of them simultaneously. Newman Enterprises and Jabal are both under attack, and separately, neither Jack nor Victor might be able to stop it. But together, they might have a chance. So, they're being forced to set aside their eternal rivalry and work together against a common enemy. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be difficult. Neither of them is going to trust the other completely. But necessity makes strange bedfellows. And when your empire is on the line, you do what you have to do. This alliance is going to be fascinating to watch because Jack and Victor working together instead of against each other fundamentally changes the power dynamics in Genoa City. And while all of this is happening, Sally's facing her own crisis. She has to decide if she can stay in a relationship with Billy, or if it's time to walk away. Billy's vengeful streak, his obsession with proving himself, his willingness to ignore everyone who loves him, it's all become too much. Sally's reached a point where she has to ask herself if this relationship is worth the pain it's causing her. And the answer might be no. Because love isn't enough when your partner consistently chooses other things over you. When they don't value your opinion, when they make you feel like you don't matter. Sally deserves better. And this week she might finally realize that and walk away. Week of February 2nd to 6th, Secrets and Second Chances. Now we move into the third week and the focus shifts to romance and secrets. Victoria and Nate Hastings continue to gravitate toward one another. They're moving away from the corporate chaos and focusing on their connection. And the spoilers hint at a full romantic reunion. This suggests that Victoria and Nate have been circling each other, maybe testing the waters, maybe hesitant to fully commit, but now they're ready to take that step. For Victoria, this might be exactly what she needs. She's been dealing with so much stress, the corporate attacks, Billy's betrayal, the family crisis. Having something positive and romantic in her life could be a welcome relief. And Nate's proven himself to be someone who understands her world, who can handle the intensity of being involved with a Newman, who's willing to stand by her during difficult times. So, a romantic reunion makes sense. These two have chemistry, they have mutual respect, and they're both in a place where they're ready for something real. Meanwhile, Claire remains obsessed with uncovering a secret that Audra and Holden are hiding from their time in Los Angeles. This suggests that whatever happened in LA is significant. It's something they're desperate to keep hidden, and Claire's determined to expose it. Claire's motivations aren't entirely clear from these spoilers. Is she doing this to protect someone? Is she trying to gain leverage? Does she have a personal grudge against Audra or Holden? Whatever her reasons, Claire's on a mission, and she's planning what the spoilers call a deceptive move to gain the upper hand. While Audra is playing nice to honor her deal with Holden, Claire's preparing to strike, and she might be doing it with Kyle Abbott's help. That's interesting because it suggests Claire and Kyle are working together possibly against Audra, which could create all kinds of complications depending on what their relationship is and what they're trying to accomplish. The use of the word deceptive tells us that Claire's not planning to confront Audra directly or honestly. She's going to use manipulation or trickery to get what she wants. That could backfire spectacularly because once you cross certain lines, once you start using deception against people, it's hard to maintain the moral high ground, and it's hard to repair relationships afterward. But Claire seems willing to take that risk. She wants this secret badly enough that she's prepared to do things she might not normally do. The bigger picture, 3 weeks of transformation. Let's step back and look at what's happening across these 3 weeks because we're not just watching isolated storylines. We're watching Genoa City transform. Week 1 is about decisions and consequences. Billy makes his choice. Victor deals with Matt. Nick's addiction becomes undeniable. People are committing to paths that are going to define them. Week 2 is about crisis and unlikely alliances. Mariah's kidnapping of Dominic creates a family emergency. Jack and Victor form a partnership nobody saw coming. Sally decides whether to stay or go. Week 3 is about moving forward. Victoria and Nate embrace their connection. Claire pursues her agenda. People are looking toward the future even as they're still dealing with the fallout from the past. The themes running through all of this are loyalty, betrayal, and transformation. Who do you trust?
Who do you stand with?
And how do the choices you make change who you are? Billy's choosing ambition over relationships. Victor's choosing to protect his son, even if it means getting blood on his hands. Mariah's mental illness is making her do something unforgivable. Jack and Victor are choosing survival over pride. Every character is being tested. Every relationship is being strained. And by February 6th, we're going to see clearly who came through these trials stronger and who was broken by them. What to watch for as we move through these 3 weeks. Here are the key things to pay attention to. How does Billy's relationship with Sally survive or not survive his chancellor decision? What exactly does Victor do to Matt Clark? And is Matt actually gone for good? How quickly does Nick's addiction spiral out of control? And who's going to be the one to finally intervene? When Abby and Devin discover Mariah took Dominic, can they ever forgive her? Can Jack and Victor actually work together? Or will their partnership implode before it accomplishes anything? What secret are Audra and Holden hiding? And what happens when Claire exposes it? All of these questions are going to be answered over the next 3 weeks. And the answers are going to reshape the landscape of the young and the restless. So here's what I want to know from you. Which storyline are you most invested in over these 3 weeks? Do you think Billy made the right choice accepting Kane's offer, or is he going to regret it? What do you think Victoria and Nate's reunion is going to look like? And do you think they're good for each other? What about the Jack-Victor alliance? Do you think it's going to work, or are they going to end up sabotaging each other? And the biggest question, what do you think happens to Dominic? How long is he going to be missing? And what kind of trauma is this going to cause for everyone involved? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me your predictions for these 3 weeks and which moments you're most looking forward to. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on because these 3 weeks are going to be absolutely packed with drama. And you're going to want to be here to discuss every single moment. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, in Genoa City, 3 weeks can change everything. Stay dramatic.